Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We are thrilled to have you here to celebrate Shabbat with us. It's even too hot to be outside if you were inclined to be outside. So we're glad that you are somewhere cool, I hope, and we're glad that you're sharing Shabbat with us. It is just a few weeks in advance of Erev Rosh Hashanah, and our minds turn toward putting ourselves on the right path to do the difficult spiritual work that is required to do as we prepare ourselves for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Next week, we hope that you will spread the word and everyone will join us as we gather together on Zoom, but we will originate our services from the Gore Sanctuary so that we can really begin to set a tone and a feeling and remind you of what it was like when we were all together and give you hope that we will shortly be all together in person. But at the moment, let us welcome Shabbat in the best possible way that we can. Let us begin with music and with joy and with song. And I'm so pleased to turn it over to my colleague, Cantor Yonah Klieger.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We're going to begin with Shalom Aleichem, which you can find on page 142 of your Sidurim if you're following along in that, or if not, just sing along, join together in song, Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Yasharim, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni L'Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem L'Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now that we've welcomed the angels among us, now we can really begin to welcome the Shabbat bride. We continue with Lecha Dodi on page 138. Sing along. Ya la la lecha dodi, kam la la likrat kala, ya la la b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat nikabla, kam la la lecha dodi, ya la la likrat kala, kam la la b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat nikabla. Shamor v'zachor, Shamor v'zachor, b'dibur echad, yishmi'anu el hamiluchad, Adonai echad, u'shmo echad, Shem ultiferet ve'litilah, ya la la lecha dodi, ya la la likrat kala, ya la la b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat nikabla. Likrat Shabbat, Likrat Shabbat, לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם משוכה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. יאללה לה, יאללה לה לה לך דודי, יאללה לה 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 לקראת קלה, יאללה לה 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 בני שבת, בני שבת קבלה. We rise, we face the entrances of our homes for verse 9. בואי ושלום, עצרת בלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, יאללה יאללה לך דודי, יאללה לקראת קלה, יאללה בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה, יאללה לך דודי, יאללה לקראת קלה, יאללה בני שבת, בני שבת קבלה. We're going to continue now as we welcome Shabbat light into our sacred space. We invite you to light the candles. Anyone who's under the age of bar mitzvah, you get priority, but anyone who's got Shabbat candles tonight, please kindle them now as we sing the blessing. Together. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Let's sing it all together. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Yai lai 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 lai, Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Kitshanu b'mitzvotav, b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner. וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת. יאללה לילה לילה, יאללה לילה לילה, לילה לילה, יאללה לילה לילה, יאללה לילה לילה, יאללה לילה. We turn now to page 146, and if you're comfortable and able, we rise now for the Baruch Hu, the call to worship. Please rise. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Ay lai 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 lai, ay lai 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 lai, ay lai 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 lai, ay lai 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 lai, ay lai 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 lai, lai lai lai. Baruch Hu את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. יאי לי לי, יאי לי לי, יאי לי 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 לי. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Turn to page 152 as we continue singing the Shema together. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. The haftas on the next page, 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol vavcha vechol nafshecha vechol meodecha. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך, בשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם נאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמן. We're going to turn now to page 158 as we continue singing Mi Chamocha. Together. Ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la la. Ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha bailim Adonai. Mi kamocha nedar b'hakodesh, nora tilot osefele. מלכותך ראו בניך, מוקיע לפני משה ומרים. מלכותך ראו בניך, מוקיע לפני משה ומרים. זה לי אנו ויאמרו אדוני lo leolam leolam va'ed yalla la 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 together yalla la 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 yalla la yalla la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la la yalla la la la.
Next week, as I mentioned at the outset of the service, we're going to bring you our service live from the Gore Sanctuary. We'll have a team of clergy there, and other clergy will be on Zoom, and you'll be able to watch it on Zoom. But during the services that will begin next week, which is the first day of Elul, we're going to also use our Elul prayer book. It's Mishkan Halev. This is the prayer book that we'll be using. It's a lovely prayer book. It was made possible, our acquisition of the prayer book was made possible by the women of Temple Judea. And it really has become my favorite Siddur. And the poetry, the prose, the translations of the prayer all make for an inspirational experience to use the Siddur. And as we set our sights on Hashkivenu, as we begin to embrace the Amidah, let me read the translation that is in Mishkan Halev for the Hashkivenu. Bless our sleep with peace, Adonai, and awaken us to life when we rise. With power sublime, spread over us your shelter of shalom, and through your wisdom restore us, make us whole. Let your name proclaim your presence in our lives, be our shield, make us stronger than enemies we face. Illness, war, famine, and sorrow. And let us be stronger than the enemies in our hearts, wickedness and sin. Carry us to safety as on wings, for you are the monarch of grace, the sovereign of compassion. You are the one who cares for us and sets us free. Watch over us, we who go forth to life. Watch over us that we may come home in peace now and till the end of time. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. Blessed One, you spread over us a canopy of peace, a shelter of shalom over all Israel, over your people, and over Jerusalem.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'Chaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'Chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us with wisdom, compassion, trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'Chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, from sorrow, from pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom Hamideinu, Shomreinu, Lechai, Lechai, As we continue on the next page with Vishamru, think about the special covenant, the special relationship that we, the children of Israel, have with Adonai. And one of the ways that we can think about that relationship is Shabbat. It's the gift that we have, the gift of time, the gift of spending a whole day in a slightly different way of existing. And these days, as the days kind of like roll one into the next, it's kind of hard sometimes to create any sense of difference in your life or in your existence. But from now until we have Havdalah tomorrow night at around 7 o'clock, I encourage you to think about how you might choose to spend your day in a slightly different way of existing, a way of slowing down, of breathing a little bit differently, of just taking time and appreciating time in a different way. Vishamru. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat Asot et HaShabbat L'dorotam Brit Olam Beini Vein b'nei Yisrael Oti Le'olam Ki sheishet yamim Asa Adonai et hashamayim et haaretz Vayom hashvi'i Shabbat We're going to turn now to the Amidah section, the standing prayer. So if you're comfortable, if you'd please rise, and we'll begin with the first line of the Amidah, and then we'll continue silently. And once you've completed your silent prayer, you may be seated. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. always so beautiful to hear Tali praying with her fingers at the beautiful piano. And I believe that was a setting of Yehu L'Ratzon, written by Tali. Who wrote that?
Rabbi Cantor Wisset.
Ah, Rabbi Cantor Wisset wrote that. And we didn't plan this, but there's something about the quality of that particular melody that you chose tonight that leads in, I think, just perfectly to this blessing of peace that Emmett and I are going to sing now. Shalom Rav, I believe everyone, or many people, are familiar with this melody, so invite you to join us and sing along.
Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Tesim Lulam. Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Tesim Lulam. Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Tesim Lulam. Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Tesim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Tesim Leolam. Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Tesim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael. בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. Tasim Leolam, Tasim Leolam.
Thank you, Emmett, for adding your voice to our service and adding the beauty of it. And Cantor Klieger, thank you for having Emmett join us and bring such beauty to our prayer and to our service. We are at the time of Misha Berach, and so I invite you, if you have names to add as I speak, please type them into chat, either on Zoom or on Facebook Live, if you have someone in your life who is in need of healing. It is something that seems to be right now in our world, something so many of us are in need of. So many people need healing. So many people need to be whole. Our prayer today is that those people that are in need of healing can have that healing, can feel better emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And so to the names that you are typing into the chat, I add the following names from within our community: Corbin Schwartz, Nisim Yitzhak Ben Sipora, Nikki Gold, Julian Goldsmith, Joel Ewing, Stephen Haber, Stephen Flesh, Sandy Stolbach, Jill Dennis, Marcy Leonard, Alex Lewis, Janine Hill, Mark Friedman, Dove Govrin, Donna Collin, Kia Oglaki, Heidi Adler, Yitzhak Ben Lazar, Genoa Haywood, Barry Shearer, Harriet Cohen, Daniel Ben Hannah, Emily Owen, Yehuda Jablon, Ray Friedman, and Mason Duncan Book. For all of those names and all the names that you didn't hear because I was muted for part of that, please turn to page 371 and join Cantor Klieger in Misha Berach.
Together. Misha Berach Avoteinu Kor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us sing Amen. Berach Imotenu B'kor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
So it's time for birthday blessings, and let's do them. Let's shout them out in chat. Please put the blessings of the names of people that you would like to celebrate their birthdays this week. Please put them into the chat so that we can celebrate them, we can recognize them, and we can see them. So please, either in Facebook Live or on a Zoom, please type in the names of those people who you love who have birthdays this week. So happy birthday to all of those people, whether they are young or old. Some are turning 2 or 3 or 13 or even 72 or something else in between. But we want to wish them all happy birthday as we continue our service with Words of Torah by Rabbi Rosenstein.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's so good to see all of these faces, all of your backgrounds, all of your dinner tables, wherever you happen to be from. It's just such a blessing that we all get to be together in each other's lives. And even though we're going to be going back into the sanctuary, I know that I am going to be taking with me this sense that we are all one family sitting together at the Shabbat dinner table, and that sense of togetherness that we can all share. I want us to, I don't know how much you were paying attention. I don't take much stock in how much anyone listens to my words. So I'll just remind you a little bit about what I talked about the last time I spoke 2 weeks ago, was about how the book of Deuteronomy is all about first principles, sort of all about going back to the basics. Why is God taking the Israelite people, the Jewish people, on this magnificent journey, on this treacherous journey? What's it all about anyway? And we talked about how that comes down to the first principle of what was the first commandment. I am the eternal your God. I am God. There is no other gods. Don't think about hanging out with any other gods. I am the only God, and that is what you should know. And this Torah portion takes that first principle a step further, because what are the ramifications of God saying, I'm the only God? Well, it's you should probably pay attention to the commandments that I've been telling you about this entire time. So the extent to which if you deny God, then by extension, or you also deny all of the laws that come with it. You deny the very fact of community that our people are creating, whether it's in the desert or where they're going to go into the land of Israel. And so this is a big deal. And God places a really fine point on that when he reminds the people in the very opening words, I am placing before you blessing and curse. And he places, God choreographs this incredible scene that's going to happen at the end of Deuteronomy, wherein once the people cross into the land of Israel, half of the people will go onto Mount Ebal, and half of the people will go to the neighboring mountain, Mount Gerizim, and the ones on one mountain will shout all of the blessings that will come should Israel follow first principles and all of the laws that follow. And then the other mountain, the other half of the people shall shout out all of the curses that will that will befall Israel should they deny first principles, should they deny the laws that God had given them. And what we learn here is that all of the people being on one mountain and all of the people being on the other means there is no middle ground. For Deuteronomy, there is either blessing or curse. There is no gray area. There is no in between. And for us, that's a little bit hard to understand because our world is all about the shades of gray, the nuances, the complications that affect the ways that we make decisions about our lives. And so the Torah, which speaks to us in this black and white, is perhaps hard for us to understand, especially because of what happens next. Because God tells the Israelite people that these are all the things they need to do in order to ensure correct belief, in order to make sure that they are not violating first principles. Forgetting the fact that as soon as they enter the land, they're going to go to war against all of the Canaanites. Then, once they've presumably defeated them, they should go and destroy all of the Canaanite holy sites. So any of the sacred pillars or the altars or the temples or the what have yous that these people worshipped at, the Israelites are to completely destroy them. Not only that, such that they won't be tempted to use those local sites, they are supposed to centralize their worship in Jerusalem, in the place where God will show them, which we will learn is Jerusalem. And there is the only place that is proper, so the Torah says, for the Israelites to worship God. Then God says, you should not inquire after these gods. Don't even go there, right? Like you say to your teenager, don't even think about it. Don't even walk down that line of questioning. Don't be lured into their ways. And then, again, perhaps talking to teenagers, hey, when the older kids try to lure you with false ideas in your head about what's cool and not, what's good to do and what's not, don't be distracted. Don't let false prophecy, God says, divert you or distract you or cause you to add or subtract or alter any of the mitzvot. And this is where it gets even more rough. Should someone in your family deny a first principle and say, oh, we should worship this other God, we should engage in foreign worship, then our Torah says, no matter who that person is or their relation to you, whether they be your neighbor across the street or your brother or your sister or your child or your spouse, you should stone that person you should put them to death. And the last step God teaches the people is that should a city declare itself in rebellion, so to speak, so should some scoundrels come forward to subvert an entire Israelite town to worshiping false gods, this foreign alien worship, then it is incumbent upon the Jewish community to investigate that claim. And if it is found to be true, they should doom the entire town to destruction, all its flocks, all its spoil. It should never again be used for habitation, completely razed, burned to the ground. The book of Deuteronomy has some of the most beautiful poetry in it, and yet has some of the most difficult texts for us to understand. When in talking about what it is to be loyal to God, to believe in God, all of these things that God asks us to do upon entering the land, as we read it with our modern sensibilities, with our sense of nuances and shades of gray, when we come upon a text that speaks to us in this kind of black and white, it's the kind of text that makes you want to close the cover, put the book on your shelf, and maybe not open it again. So I'd like to propose an alternate reading, and one that might be more applicable to us today and to the time that we find ourselves in the Jewish calendar. I want us to think about this in terms of the Israelite people find themselves, when they are hearing these commandments, on the edge of something, ready to change their state of being, ready to enter the land. And I think we need to read this text as an allegory for what we need to do to change. Like Rabbi Aronson was saying, this is the last Shabbat before we celebrate, before we mark Rosh Chodesh Elul, the first day of the month of Elul. And the month of Elul is our, I was going to say the high holy days. I mean, that's true. It is getting close to the holy days, but it is the time of resolutions, of New Year's resolutions for Jews. This is the time of change, when we begin to take stock of what has come in the past year and who we are, and make strides to change, to do better, to do different. And so I want us to look at this black and white text for a way of how we might go about altering or changing our habits, working towards becoming a better person, towards living in and constructing a better society. You see, in order to make change, in order to make a shift in your life, before you open a new door, you must close another one. There's nothing quite so black and white about that. When the Israelites are going to enter into the land, when they're going to try to figure out who they want to be, when we ourselves are trying to figure out, you know what, this is the kind of change I want to make in my life, that requires saying goodbye to what habits we had before and becoming open to how we're going to make positive steps towards being that person, to embodying those habits that we want to see in the future. And so we can look at when the text says that we must destroy the Canaanite holy sites so we don't worship at them, we can read that as a metaphor to say when we want to change, we must throw something away. We must close a door before we can open another one, before we can start something new. When our text says that we must centralize our worship in Jerusalem, we can't worship at the same local sites that we did before, but we must worship somewhere new, somewhere we can all congregate together. It's a metaphor to say that when we seek to set new habits, we can't model them on the same patterns that came before. We need to break out of the mold. We need to shift our thinking because our old patterns of thinking were not helpful to us in previous times. When our text says that you should not inquire after those other gods or be lured into those ways, it's a reminder of the temptations to revert to old habits, that when we are taking on something new, we must continue to work at them and work at them because they are not yet fixed in our being yet, and we could still be tempted to make other choices. When our text says, do not let false prophecy distract you or cause you to add, subtract, or alter the mitzvot, it teaches us that no matter what distractions are around us, we must fix our mind on the goal, on the end result, on the person that we want to be, so we're not strayed when the going gets difficult. It's too easy, our tradition says, to just be tempted by the fad of the moment, by someone giving you the easy way out. And this is a reminder to say that change, while good, while yearned for, is difficult. And when we learn from our text that a person who suggests that you worship foreign gods, they should be stoned to death. When you learn that you're supposed to stone and the residents of an entire town that has gone astray, it's a reminder that there may be people, there may be influences in your life that do not embody the person you want to be, or who might divert you from the place that you want to go. And it's a suggestion that you close yourself off from those influences that might lead you astray, that might hold you back from becoming the person you want to be. As you reflect, as we all reflect on our own journeys of change during the coming month of Elul, a reminder from our tradition that God places this exhortation of blessing and curse in the plural. Re'eh anochi noten lifnechem hayom, before you all. Bracha uklala, blessing and curse. Because it reminds us that no change can happen alone. Because each of us exists in community of various shapes, sizes, dimensions. We reach heights together, we fall together. As you think through the difficult work of making change in your life, know that you also have your whole community to lift you up, to sustain you, to carry you forward from moment to moment as you reach toward embodying your best self, as you reach towards that true sense of teshuvah, of return to the essence of your soul, the one that brings blessing into this world. Ken Yehi Ratzon. Shabbat Shalom.
Ellen Israel is going to be offering some words on behalf of the board of directors. So I invite Ellen, who is unmuted, to come forward, so to speak, metaphorically.
Thank you, Rabbi. As anybody who knows me knows that I always have words, so that will not be a problem. I'd like to thank the clergy once again for a beautiful Shabbat service. I think that I speak for almost everybody, and if I'm not speaking for you, you probably don't want to raise your hand, that, I miss seeing everybody in person. I miss being together. And I really can't wait for the time when we can be together. But until then, we have so many things going on, and Shabbat, of course, included, that remind me that whether or not we're sitting in our beautiful building, we're a community. We are active, we're involved, we're engaged, and we're a community. And I think that's wonderful, and I think it feels great. I want to remind everybody, with that being said, to send in your membership renewals. If you haven't done so yet, there's been emails. If you need a new one sent, please just call or email somebody, and we will make sure you get that. And I also wanted to reflect on what Cantor Klieger said about just Shabbat, just sort of being a time of sort of turning the volume down and turning the TV off maybe, and just taking a breath and thinking about some different things, and taking time to recharge. And I just think for myself in this crazy world that is really, really good advice. So thanks for that, Cantor Klieger. I want to let everybody know that while we can't be together for the holy days this year, I have heard little bits of things about what we can expect. I am super excited I think it's going to be a high holy days to remember. It's going to be creative and special, and I am really looking forward to not putting on heels and enjoying the Holy Day services that I know our whole team has been working so hard to really make special for us. So we can all look forward to that. I want to give a mazel tov to Jenna Summer. Her bat mitzvah tomorrow. Her family is a wonderful Temple Judea family. Her dad, Glenn, is on our executive board as VP of membership. He set such a great example for his girls and for everybody. And mazel tov to the whole family. And what else do I have to say? Reflecting on what Rabbi Rosenstein was just talking about, that no change happening alone, and the month of Elul being a time to better yourself as a person and better society. We have so many opportunities at Temple Judea to better yourself, to grow, to help our society. We know it needs some help. That's for sure. And so we have lots of different opportunities, whether you work with Reclaim the Vote and voter engagement, or racial justice, or the myriad of things going on. As you reflect and as you think about what you have the time and energy to do, boy, can we can fill that for you with lots of great, important, community building, life-changing, community-changing activities. So please look for those, or if you want to email me and get some more information, happy to help you. And I think that's all I've got. So Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Stay cool. And looking forward to seeing everybody next week on Zoom and in person as soon as we can.
Thank you, Ellen, for such inspiring words. There's so many things to do at Temple, as you said, and so many ways to get involved. I don't know how many of you were fortunate enough to observe or listen to the eulogies for a giant in America, Congressman Lewis. But if you heard the eulogies from Presidents Clinton, Bush, and Obama, you heard the words speaking about a true giant. This week, Temple Judea lost one of our true giants. Yesterday, Natalie Smoland succumbed to her illnesses and died. Natalie's impact on Temple Judea is perhaps greater than anyone else, partially because of the span of time in which she worked at the temple, almost 40 years, and partially because of her presence. I want to share quickly before we do Kaddish 2 brief responses to Beth, her daughter's Facebook post. And as Gail said in the post right now, she taught us all to be parents. A mom wrote, "Your mother's impact on me as a mom was profound. She always encouraged me to be myself and not care about those other moms when I felt so inferior. I loved your mom, and I can hear her laughter as she crouched down to talk to a child in the walkways. Her memory will be for a blessing by all of the children and their parents who were lucky enough to be touched by her warmth, her compassion, and her caring nature." And another quick, very short one, I think sums up the type of impact Natalie had. "She will be missed by so many. I just found a letter she wrote to my 44-year-old daughter when she was 2. We were in her second Mommy and Me class. I saved it all these years. Such wonderful Natalie memories to last forever." Natalie was truly a giant. We were blessed to have her in our midst. But there are so many people that we were blessed to have in our midst. so many people, who touched so many lives. And so this week we remember those people in observing Shloshim, and I invite you to type in the names of those who you are observing Kaddish for while I read the names of those in our Shloshim list and in our Yahrzeit list. For Shloshim this week, we have Carol Reback and Jeffrey L. Green. And our community lovingly remembers the following individuals who are memorialized outside the Gore Sanctuary. May their names be for a blessing. Gussie Altschuler, Barbara Berg, Max Berkowitz, Minnie Bushell, Edith Cohen, Rose Falk, Harry Feldman, Marvin Goldstein, Morris Goldstein, Catherine Greenberg, Becky Grobison, Anita S. Gutterman, Morris W. Horwitz, Anna Lee Kaplan, Solomon Lids, William Lipsey, Clara Marcus, Eugene David Petler, Dorothy Pierce, Charlotte Greenberg Sherman, Ida Solomon, Jean L. Stryker, Opal Turner, Milton Walzer, Lillian Weissman, and Charles Well. We think of all of them, as well as all those whose names have been typed into chat, as we turn to page 598. And for those of us who are able, we rise for Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yomad divra kurutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon uv'yomechon uv'chayed kol Beit Yisrael, v'agalav uv'izman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal Shmei Kedusha Baruch Hu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei Shlomo Rabba min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, in which we say, Amen.
Oh, say shalom b'mroma, v'hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen. Yain, nain, nain. Oh, say shalom b'mroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen. Oh, say shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו Thank you, Rabbi Rosenstein. Let's all join together for Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, b'shabbat kodsho, b'ahava uv'ratzon inchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh, zecher letziat mitzrayim, ki banu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta mikol hamim, b'shabbat kodshecha v'ahava uv'ratzon inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Chaim. Okay, let's see those challahs. Where are our challah makers this week? Jablons have a beauty. Rabbi Aronson. Oh, is that a homemade? Beautiful. David Wolgamuth. Lovely. Who else? I don't see any others. I'm only looking at one screen.
There you go.
Look at some more screen. Oh, look at the both this. Gorgeous. Carl's got a beautiful screensaver there behind
There you go.
Love it. Oh,
the
Mila.
Durkin family. I see you, Mila.
Yeah,
That's great looking challah.
Nice looking challah there.
Wolgamoose, did you make your own challah? That's a nice challah.
All right. We gather all of the homemade challahs and all the challahs yet to be eaten, and we join together and we sing Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ha-motzi lechem min haaretz Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom. You're all unmuted. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Shalom, Mila.
Bob Bowden.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
Mom, everyone.
Shalom.
Bobs.
Bruce. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Mom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Rosie.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shalom, everybody.
Hi, Carrie and Susie. Hi, Justin.
You guys.
Hi, Wolgamoose.
Shabbat Shalom,
Hi,
everyone.
Sefenowitz. Words.
Harry,
Harry, Mila,
and
Mickey, Boston's High, Gail, Carly's,
Mila, Barry,
Gloria
Ray.
Grossblatt,
Martin Marlin,
Leah.
Mazel Tov, happy anniversary.
Ellen Crane, how are you? Nice to see you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Good to see you all. Good to see you all. Gail, nice to see you.
Yes, both of our anniversaries soon. Oh no, what am I saying? Yes,
Hello, Yona's
2 days
in-laws.
ago.
How are you?
Both of ours 2 days ago.
Happy anniversary.
We have the same anniversary.
Nice to see you. Hi, Vern. How are
Ryan,
you?
good to see you. Rabbi Aronson, good to see you. Yona Klieger, Cantor, Yona.
Hi there, Bob.
Shabbat Shalom.
Mila, Shabbat Shalom, Mila.
See you.
Shabbat Shalom, Peter Klinger.
Hires, there they are. Nice to see you guys.
Marlon, good to see you.
Happy anniversary.
Happy birthday, Jake Peterson.
Jake, woo!
Happy birthday, everybody.
You're on a.
I missed you and did not say hello. Hello. Hi, Eric. Hi, Lisa Burke. How are you? Hello, everybody. Gary Reisman, how are you? Nice to see you. I want to wish everybody a cool weekend, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Shabbat Shalom.
I can't see it.
All right.
You're Sophia's, you can see.
Take care now.
They don't know you're supposed to.